Hello there.
Hello there.
Howdy.
And welcome to the Pop Culture Cult. That's totally fine. I'm Sean.
I'm Josh.
And this is the Rebel Files, your one-stop shop for everything Star Wars. News, notes, rapid speculation, fan theories, toys. We're actually going to talk about toys today a little bit. We do Star Wars stuff. We ask one thing from you guys. Share with your Star Wars friends what we're doing here at the Pop Culture Cult, but specifically here with the Rebel Files.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and realistically, there's tons of content you guys can go out there and get. But you know what? The way I like to look at it is, we're real.
We try to be.
Try to be as real as you possibly can. I mean, we're Star Wars obsessed, but we're gonna poke the faults if there are faults.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely.
We like to keep it real, kids.
And really, in 2 years when they announce Star Wars Celebration in London or New York or Anaheim or whatever,
that'll
again,
happen.
It probably we would like to actually be on the podcast stage. Not saying that I'm a little jealous from looking at the lineup, but I'm a little jealous from looking at the lineup.
Yeah, I'm a little jealous too.
We have 460 subscribers here on YouTube. We're going to expand to podcast once we get into Studio B, phase 2. We'll get into that in a minute. But I would like to be able to do a podcast from Celebration. That would be awesome.
I think we could do that. I think it could be arranged.
I think we could arrange that. So I talked about it last night on our big show that was dropped this morning. But we, Janice and I, are moving and to a new home that's actually bigger and a smaller piece of land, and we will have a dedicated room for the show.
Yeah, you're like I feel like the trajectory has always been you guys move first,
right?
And then Audrey and I move at some
Yeah.
point, which is actually funny considering we're looking for land and everything else. So
right.
The cycle is continuing.
Yes, exactly. So with that, we cannot say how consistent we're going to be with everything that's going to happen on the channel. We're going to do as much as we can, but the packing process starts this weekend. Everything kind of it's going. So we're at that stage. So we're going to try to be as consistent as we can be, but also understand that we're it's probably going to be hit and miss. And we're going to do all this while Celebration's going on.
Woo,
so
good
we're
times.
We're going to be doing some interesting Skype interviewing of each other about stuff.
I realize that I will be still in recovery while Celebration is going.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do a whole lot of, okay, guys, so you might watch the YouTube channel, but you know what? We're going to be keeping busy. So, obviously check out the Facebook feed. Keep in line with the updates and the notes, because while we might not actually be recording or so that week, there's still going to be content that's going to come out through the Pop Culture Cult page.
Yeah.
There's going to be little tidbits leaking out.
I will at least do the trailer reaction.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Janice and I will at least do the trailer reaction for 9 and maybe Mandalorian, and maybe have you film something if you're actually able to.
Oh, yeah, I should be able to.
And then maybe we'll add something. I don't know. We'll figure out something.
It'll be like a 5-second scene of me just going,
that's amazing.
And
Okay, so let's talk about it. Mandalorian. We have 2 big subjects. One is the Mandalorian. It's a small subject. And Celebration, as we already talked about. Mandalorian, Jon Favreau has been putting stuff out ever so slightly. This week it was Taika Waititi in a voiceover booth looking at a photo of IG-88.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a red and gold Mandalorian helmet,
which I presume is going to be one of the variants
that
his armor is supposed to evolve in the series. So
yeah, so everyone jumped to conclusions that he's voicing IG-88. However, I think that maybe not be true, because usually when they do voiceover stuff, they show what that character will be seeing. So Tika is talking to IG-88 and not actually being IG-88. So then who is he in the show? Is he...
Yeah, the only time they tend to do that a lot of times, though, is and it's a little weird. So if they're working with the production to where their IG-80 is doing some form of gesticulation and he has to time the overlap, then he needs to see what IG-80 is doing.
Sense.
But at the same point in time, a lot of times they'll do voiceover work and then do the CGI and the overlay to match that. So
it's very interesting on what that and there was no comment, nothing on there. It was just this picture. So, and then the first joke that everybody made was, is IG-88 have enough pamphlets for his revolution? or is he going to beat scissors and lose to paper? That's a really good joke in Ragnarok. You need to figure that one out on your own. But I like Tika has been directly involved. I mean, he's directed an episode. He's talked about how he had to change his kind of comedy style to make it fit within Star Wars. Herzog, we were just talking about it before the show, was talking about his role. So there's little things coming out, and we're 3 weeks from Celebration, or 2 weeks actually, I think, at this point in time. 3 weeks at Celebration. So with Mandalorian stuff kind of trickling out, we're going to get something. It's going to be the trailer. It's going to happen. And they're keeping it secret pretty good.
They are, and I feel like if you're Disney now, the entire modus operandi of being a property with Disney is shut up.
Right.
We're not going to tell you squat. I mean, well, look at it.
They'll hire the Marvel snipers for
right, and I'm pretty sure they are. You know, they just released the runtime now for Endgame is 3 hours and 2 minutes.
Yep.
And I'm waiting for them to say what the runtime for Episode 9 is going to be, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be dang close.
245,
somewhere in there.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a marathon too. So
I don't mind. I don't care. We talked about it yesterday.
Give me more content.
Endgame could be 6 hours. Just give me an intermission in the middle to go pee.
Then that's it. Yeah, that's exactly
it. If it's 6 hours and that makes it sense for the story, make it 6 hours.
Yeah. Longer the movie, the better. I get my money's worth out of it.
Right, exactly. And I will be seeing it 17 times in the theater. Okay, let's talk about Celebration now. Let's talk about first the exclusives that have come out, because we had a talk today online back and forth, and he's not impressed with them. However, there's
a couple things I dig, but overall, I'm just like, merchandising.
The poster's cool. That one.
So I did gawk at that a little bit.
Okay, so it's Harrison Dula. It's a mini bust, so it's from like her waist up. 3D. It's got to be from Hot Toys. It's amazing.
Yeah, and it's not the animated version of it either. It's like the Star Wars Black Series impersonation.
Yes, and it looks so cool. The other one that was on this first run was, where did it go? It's right here. Okay, so these I'll be adding photos. The Ralph McQuarrie original C-3PO and R2-D2, but they are Christmas ornaments.
Right.
Okay, so now I have to convince my wife.
Now, for those of you out there who haven't seen these images before, if you've never seen the McQuarrie sketches, so C-3PO in the McQuarrie sketches look like the robot from Metropolis, and
much more curvy.
Yeah. R2-D2 had the arms like Chopper has, in Rebels. So, but other than that design for R2 is very, very close to the final concept, outside of some color. But it really is kind of a cool thing to throw out there.
It's way cool, and for an exclusive just for Celebration, I might be actually like spending extra money to get those away. Like in the aftermarket thing. I'm just scrolling through, and a football. Because of Darth Maul football is what we need. And then the other list that came out, the new exclusives that came out today, or I think or yesterday, the Darth Maul Letterman jacket is kind of cool.
It's not my jam.
I get it. But it's kind of cool. They have some alternate covers for Queen Shadow,
which I dig that alternate cover on it.
I do dig that alternate cover, and Master and Apprentice, which comes out right around Celebration. Maybe no, it's May. It's May, which I already have pre-ordered it. I'm sitting around waiting for it to show up. Aunt Beru's Diner coffee mugs. I totally want one of these. It says on here. Where is it? Now proudly serving blue milk.
Should have been where everything's flambé.
It should have been where everybody's flambé, but it's still too soon. And some awesome Star Wars socks and shoes.
And the kicks, dude. So the kicks
shoes are pretty awesome. Yeah.
Some company called Pozu?
Yeah, so I've been on Pozu's website lately. They actually announced these early, and they were in red and white instead of the black and white like this. So it's the Rebel.
Black and white.
But they have a pair of Chuck Taylor All-Star kind of looking things that are all red with the the Rebel symbol on the side of it.
Now, I'm kind of ignorant to Pozu. I haven't actually seen their site.
I've seen their stuff before.
I've seen a couple of gimmicky shoe companies out there that are kind of like look like Chucks, but they're not.
Right.
So I guess they've got some traction behind them.
They've got
now.
some traction.
Okay.
I mean, if Celebration, if Star Wars and all of them are going to let them have a booth and do stuff that's an exclusive. But My thing about not going to Celebration is all the stuff that I have to bring home. So it's really a good thing that we're not going. But there.
You got to take the extra suitcase.
The extra suitcase, yeah. There's a couple posters that have popped up. I'm like,
I've done that at San Diego Comic-Con a couple of times, and you literally have to take a separate suitcase.
Well, luckily I'm driving to San Diego Comic-Con this year with the truck, so I can back stuff up and just shovel stuff in the back of the truck.
That's a fact. Don't fly when you can drive.
No. It's $450 for us to fly to San Diego, or it's $200 to drive in the truck. Now it's like 6.5 hours or whatever from where we live, but we can actually and then we have a vehicle there, and we don't have to Uber around and stuff like that. So, so let's get into the panels now. There is a full list of panels for Celebration on the Star Wars Celebration, and it's just like a regular Comic-Con where you have all the big stuff, big panels, and then you have the little panels. There's like a droid builders panel get together. There's also the podcast stage. So each like a bunch of the podcasts are doing stuff, which we were talking about earlier. The Schmodown is actually going on at the arena, which I thought was really cool. But what we're going to hit on is stuff that's more the bigger stuff that we're kind of thinking about.
So they're really waiting for,
there's not... So Thursday, the doors open, but there's no big panels, at least right now. Friday at 11 a.m. is the Episode 9 panel.
Yeah, they're coming right out of the gate with it.
Right.
There's no Monday, Sunday type of lead up. They're
just going right into it. They did this a couple years ago with the episode with Last Jedi, and that was the first panel on Thursday, I want to say, when they were in Orlando. And so they like, here's our big thing, and then they kind of had things going on. No, I'm wrong. The first big panel they had was the 40th anniversary panel.
Oh, you're right.
That was the first one, and then the next day was the Last Jedi panel. And so, but at least for right now, it's just JJ and Kathleen Kennedy. But let's be honest, everybody's going to be there.
Right. Surprise guest who's been planned for 5 months. Yeah.
Right. Boyega last week kind of maybe hinted that he was going to be there. Of course he's going to be there. I wonder if he's still got the dreads. Have you seen him lately with those short dreads going? Because I think he's playing some role. But that's not a surprise. We'll get the trailer. We'll get the name. We'll get all that stuff. And then it's going to be simulcast. It's going to be live streamed online, but it's also going to be simulcast in the Celebration stage is the main stage, and then they have two rooms. One's called the Galaxy stage, and one's called the Twin Sun stage. So if you're not able to get into the Celebration stage, there's going to be other rooms where you can actually go and see it and stuff like that.
And they're doing a lot of that by a lottery system.
Yeah,
right now.
So you don't have to camp overnight and stuff.
So not everybody's going to get in to see this. And here's going to be my concern with that. Okay, I'm amped. I want to see as much Episode 9 content as I can. Do you think while they're simulcasting it and they're streaming it, when the trailer airs, if they air the trailer, but I'm sure they're going to, they air the trailer, they're going to cut the feed black while they air it?
So I thought that they were going to do that with Last Jedi with Episode 8, and they did not. And what actually, Ryan Johnson introduced it and said, let's watch it. And then they got back and they got done, and he's like, what did everybody think? And the crowd's going crazy, of course, right? It's a celebration. And he said, let's watch it again. And so they showed it again. So everything that happened in the arena, they showed in the live stream. Okay. They didn't leave it as an exclusive for the people that are there. Especially with Star Wars, it's a little bit different with Comic-Con or New York Comic-Con or something like that. But with Celebration, if you can't go, you're watching a live stream.
Right.
And so you want all this information as much as you can if you can't be there. And so it just, I think it would be a really shitty move to do that.
I do too. I absolutely agree with it.
We were just talking about this, Vader Immortal. It is the newest Star Wars VR experience coming to the Oculus. This is all him.
Yep. The Oculus Quest should be out in July, tentatively right now. Going to be the first standalone headset that's actually more powerful than the Oculus Go. Not quite the Rift, but pretty close. You can take it anywhere with you, but it's launch. It's a launch title. essentially for
yeah,
it
it's
right now.
it's
So
but it's and we were talking about it. The Secrets of the Empire that we did.
it's a direct connection to
It's a direct
Secrets of the
connection
Empire.
to that.
Yep.
So I find that would be very interesting that they are doing a big panel for a game. Now we're talking about that again later here with Fallen Order, I think is what it's called.
Yep.
But yeah, they're doing a big panel just for this VR game. So they're putting some push behind it and stuff.
Yeah, and I imagine we'll be getting a lot more, hopefully some behind-the-scenes footage of how it's going to work with the Quest now that the Quest is finished and almost ready to go.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see that.
The only panel that we have on here for Friday is they're doing a Lucasfilm publishing panel. So there'll be there's another one too that's on Friday too. The publishing panel with Del Rey will be all the books and everything that's going on, and probably previews and the authors and stuff like that. I've talked about this in the past. I will continue to talk about it. My favorite panel I've ever done at Phoenix Comic-Con was the Del Rey panel last year with 8 Star Wars authors all sitting there talking about their process and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to that because I am into the new canon books. The other one that's happening that day too is Hasbro is having a full-on panel talking about all the new stuff that's coming, and then like they're kind of where they're at and their ownership of all the things because they don't have Kenner anymore. Actually, Hasbro bought Kenner, but it's just those panels I think would be a lot of fun to go to. If you need a place to sit, you go to a smaller panel. But those last two are ones, at least for me, that I definitely want to try to go to if we were there.
And I've seen some stuff coming out to the Hasbro panel, from Toy Fair and everything else. What they've talked about, we talked about in the past show. Some of the Toy Fair releases,
the Black Series stuff, and
I'm still waiting for them to make a companion to the Black Series TIE Fighter. I really want that Black Series X-wing.
Yeah.
Bloody want that.
Yeah.
It needs to happen.
And not like this big, like a big one. Yeah.
I need half my room for this.
Yeah, exactly. Saturday we have the Galaxy's Edge panel where they're going to talk about everything that's coming to Galaxy's Edge, both at Disneyland and Disney World. All the sneak preview stuff. We'll probably get a trailer for at least one of the rides. Probably the Millennium Falcon one. We probably will get something too for the Rise of the Resistance. Is that what
we'll probably see some preview for the Rise of the Resistance. There's been some stuff trickling out, some behind the scenes stuff for Rise of the Resistance. I'll tell you what we're probably going to see, and I'm actually kind of excited to see it. I would venture to say that with Galaxy's Edge opening soon, I would venture to say we're going to see the prototype lightsaber.
Yeah.
I would venture to say they're going to debut it there.
I think I read somewhere that there's a lightsaber panel. Like how to build your lightsaber and stuff like that, so they might be
for the customizers.
Yeah,
okay,
maybe something like that. But we'll probably get the app discussion there. Yep. We'll get behind the scenes video and stuff like that. We'll probably get trailers for all the different rides, and then they'll do the whole like here's the walkthrough and here's the people in costume and here's the cantina and so all that stuff, which has been a big deal for all of us because that's really the only Star Wars news we've had lately. We're getting the world premiere of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which is the other game. It's a full-on panel. So again, we will probably get a trailer for it. We will get gameplay. We will get the creators talking about their process, all of that stuff. I'm super excited about this because it picks up right after Order 66. So it's that time period essentially after Revenge of the Sith, and filling in the gap to A New Hope. And it's a straightforward adventure game. It's not open world like Battlefront is and stuff. And Battlefront 2 has that storyline, but that's a really short. But this is EA. Here's your chance to make it all right. Go forward and kill it.
And it's a crucial. I mean, I'm expecting beautiful visuals. After Battlefront 2, I'm expecting beautiful visuals. But it's a really crucial time frame because that time frame is what leads into Rogue One.
Right.
So are we going to see plot elements that that lead into Rogue One that we're aware of?
Do they come across a young Doom?
Right, exactly.
Or Doom's parents at some point in time or something like that. So there's another cool panel that's happening on was it Saturday? And it is Sisters of the Force, a celebration of women and Star Wars. And it'll be a panel full of creators and actors and voice actors and stuff like that from the female perspective about how much they love Star Wars. And it's going to be moderated by Ashley Eccleston. And so her perspective of the world as, we're doing this, clothing line specifically for women who love Star Wars, but they want cute outfits and dresses with pockets and stuff like that. So she's like kind of been the face of women in Star Wars that aren't necessarily the actors, and so it's really cool that she's the moderator of this really awesome big panel and stuff like that.
Absolutely, and I mean, it always brings up those conversations about, how come Phasma's armor doesn't look female? It's armor.
It's armor.
Really?
We are in a medieval reenactment organization. We fight with women all the time. I don't know that the person across from me is a woman until they say something. Most of the time,
after you get smacked by them
or
really
get
hard,
smacked,
you know.
yeah.
So and I think it's phenomenal. I think there's this whole division out there that I don't want to say it needs to be exploited. I want to say it needs to be brought to light and it needs to be expanded.
Right.
For other women and girls as well. So kudos to them for doing this and actually recognizing it.
Right. And making a big point of like, let's just have a big Girls Love Star Wars, it's okay panel, and I'm like, awesome, I'm all over that.
Absolutely.
The only panel that it wasn't discussed in the article that I've been going off of is Rebels Remembered. Star Wars Rebels Remembered is actually going to have a panel, and they're bringing in Filoni and Ashley Eccleston and Eckstein. I always want to put an L in it when there's no L. And some of the other voice actors who are floating around the con will be there for this panel. They said in the announcement, do not expect an announcement for the series coming back. Because the last time they did this with Clone Wars at San Diego last year, they had a trailer for the season that we're getting in Disney Plus, the Lost Season.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, well, we know the thing with Clone Wars is we know Clone Wars kind of ended abruptly, a little bit before it was originally meant to. However, with Rebels was very purposefully ended that way.
Right.
And Filoni's a madman and he's a genius at the same time, so he had his reasons for setting it up that way and leaving it right where it was.
Yeah.
It was the Star Wars equivalent to the final Quantum Leap episode.
Right. There's an obscure reference for you young kids out there. Go out and watch Quantum Leap. I'm sure it's on like Netflix or Hulu or something like that. That's a show. Wow, that's a great pull.
My age is showing. It's great.
That's okay. On Sunday, we will get on the celebration stage The Mandalorian. Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni will, of course, be there. They will be doing all of the discussing of the show and what the idea is. They'll have special guests. I'm assuming whoever can make it will be there, knowing how big the cast is and everything that's going on. So we might get some in and outs of what the show's going to be. We'll get the trailer, all that kind of stuff.
At least a teaser trailer.
At
least you got a 30-second taste.
We'll get something. And so that's the big one on Sunday, at least for me. We are getting, very strangely this year, we're not getting a ton of one-on-ones. So a couple years ago, they did one with Anthony Daniels. They did one with Peter Mayhew at one point in time. They did one with Ian McDermott. And so they're not really doing a ton of those this year. But the one they are doing is with Alan Tudyk, which I find very strange because he was in one movie as a beloved character, but he was in one movie. And Warwick Davis is the moderator. He's the host of stuff on the celebration stage. So the idea that they're going to have Warwick Davis and Alan Tudyk, it's just going to be an improv comedy hour, pretty much.
The two of them going back and forth on that stage. Will anything get done? Probably not.
No. We are getting a sneak peek to Clone Wars. We talked about that they are coming back. Filoni and special guest, of course, everybody who we've already talked about. And that's everything I have on that one. I have two lists going. Monday is the big one we're going to get. Well, there's two big ones, but the big one in the morning is the 20th anniversary of Phantom Menace. They will have, it's hosted by Warwick Davis, and they will have a bunch of the cast and behind-the-scenes content and people who were directly involved in making the movie awesome. And I'm really excited about this. Ahmad Best is there.
Absolutely.
Is going to be there. So he's going to come out. Ian McDermott's there. He's going to come out and stuff like that. Will we get, Natalie Portman or Liam Neeson or anything like that? And if they are to make a big, huge announcement,
they might do the film in, like, hey, sorry, we couldn't be there.
Yeah, that kind of thing. They did
best.
that with Liam Neeson for the 40th anniversary.
Yep.
So all of that would be really cool. I have a theory on what the other panel is what happens in the last panel, but it's cool they're doing this, and they've really been embracing the prequels the last couple of cons, especially at the last one in Orlando, because it was the 40th anniversary of all of Star Wars.
Right.
But having all of them there is going to be really cool, and I think therapeutic for a lot of people too.
It is, and I mean, there's a lot of people who give a really bad rap to the Phantom Menace. Honestly.
Right.
The Phantom Menace was one of those things that you were so excited to see because it was Star Wars coming back for one.
Right.
But this was the origin, so you knew you were going to see things like Coruscant. You knew you were going to see young Vader. You knew all this, and
we need more Coruscant in our life.
We need more Coruscant in our lives. Yep. It was a different time period in the Star Wars mythos, and so you go into the theater, you were very wide-eyed. Then there was the whole climactic thing with Maul and everything. It was just impressive,
right?
Pod racing. I don't care. I loved it. It was fun.
Pod racing was cool.
Pod racing was cool.
Pod racing. If you want to complain about politics in Star Wars, there hadn't been really politics in Star Wars.
Yep.
I can give you that argument, and there's some story tropes that I wasn't a fan of, and let's be honest, George Lucas is a great creator of worlds, but he's not a great director of people.
But let's face it, sometimes the Senate stuff was necessary because you really only had a couple of passing references to it in the original series.
You have to set up that.
Right, exactly.
Stuff.
So it was kind of necessary at that point.
Absolutely. So we'll get the 20th anniversary panel. I don't think anything big will come out of that one, but we get a short stories panel with Warwick Davis. He's going to sit on the stage and tell us stories. I don't care. I'm going to watch it. The last big panel of the week, of the 5 days, is going to be the celebration closing ceremonies. And it's going to be a gathering of friends and fellow Star Wars fans to relive the best moments of the weekend and bid farewell to the 20th anniversary of Star Wars Celebration. Featuring special guests, weekend highlights, and much more. This is a send-off you don't want to miss.
Now, any marketing guy can go, this is a send-off you don't want to miss. No, we want you still there. Here's the trick. Hayden Christensen is slated to show up.
Hayden Christensen is supposed to be there.
It's supposed to be at Celebration, but they haven't really quite stated where he's going to be floating yet.
Well, the only thing that I've heard so far is he is going to be in the Topps autograph signing area.
Okay.
And maybe
he's got to be floating into a panel somewhere.
I would. It'd
be a waste.
He will be in something.
I'm sure.
He will show up and do something or whatever. If you're going to announce another Disney Plus show or the Benioff and Weiss stuff or
whatever the heck Anthony Daniels has been tweeting
about the Obi-Wan TV series, movie, whatever it is, this would be the capper on the weekend.
Oh yeah, it's like the stinger at the very end of the movie. Oh, you left? Oh, look what you missed.
Right, because we're getting Monday is very much the retrospective of everything.
Yep.
We're getting, the new stuff that's coming, the big movie stuff that's coming on Friday, and we get Saturday we get the games and the parks, and then on Sunday we're getting the TV stuff with the Mandalorian, and Monday is remember how awesome this was, and you remember how awesome this is, and this was, we had a good time, and it's a very laid back day. Oh, by the way, bang.
Yeah, here's one more for you to go home with.
Here's Ewan McGregor. Why? I've been saying this from the beginning. You have a 5-day con that ends on a Monday, and it's not a holiday. Why do you do that? You do that because you have to make arrangements for somebody to be there that you couldn't get there because of their scheduling. If you're going to do that, then you're going to announce something big. Now, we're speculating somewhat responsibly, but we're also having this idea that I also want to put it in our head that we don't know anything for sure. I haven't heard any rumors, nothing saying that they're going to do anything big announcement wise.
Done enough cons, worked with enough celebrities. I can safely say you're pretty much right on the nose.
Right.
I'm expecting something to happen.
Right.
Logistically, it makes the most sense.
Right.
Because otherwise, why? Sunday's the day. People are packing up, they're traveling, they're heading back to the airports or whatever to go home because they got a work week, things like that. So why extend it beyond that?
Right.
So there's got to be some tie-in, and I think to your point, if you're gonna do that final Phantom Menace thing,
right.
Who's in the Phantom Menace who might have an independent series coming out on Disney Plus? And it makes sense to do the tie-in.
Yeah.
So
I if they're like, we want to thank everybody for coming to Star Wars Celebration and celebrating the 20 years of coming together for celebrating, and then you hear this on the microphone, and somebody says, "Hello there."
Yeah, yeah, and you know how they showboat it up, and we love it, we eat it up, and we're hoping for it. So
if he comes out, if you just hear "Hello there,"
right,
and he wanders out, the roof's gonna blow off.
Yeah,
that place
it's just gonna
because
happen.
Everybody, I know for a fact that they were going to announce the Obi-Wan movie at Celebration 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That it was going to happen. Ewan was flying in for one day. He was shooting something. Was it Winnie the Pooh? It was something like that.
I think you're right. I think it was.
But he was flying in for one day, and they were going to announce the Obi-Wan series of movies. It was going to be a trilogy. At least that's what they were discussing. But it was at least going to be one. And it was going to be tied into the Solo stuff because they're going to use the bounty hunters and the underworld and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And since Solo tanked so bad, from what everybody else says, it still made $400 million.
It was a fun flick.
It's a really, really good movie, and it sets up a whole different part of the Star Wars universe outside the saga films. But they really screwed the pooch on themselves by it's Bob Iger. He's the one who actually came out and ate that bullet because he's the one that did it.
Right.
But they forced them to do that movie too fast and didn't market it at all because they were trying to get away from Infinity War, and so all this stuff was going on. But anyways, Ewan was going, and he was supposed to be there, and then the week of, they called him and said, "Don't even come."
Yeah.
So, and they pulled everything that was attached to the Solo universe, for lack of a better term, off the docket, or at least put it on the back burner. And so now you have Disney Plus sitting there, you have him come out, and you announce the Obi-Wan series with, you're already kind of doing the criminal underworld with the Mandalorian, and you're doing it from the other perspective with Cassian Andor.
Yep.
Just bang, and just
And I mean, look at the fan base, dude. There's enough of us out there. Hell, Ewan McGregor himself has been clamoring to get back in the saddle as Obi-Wan.
Right.
And let's face it, outside of Alec Guinness, he's our Obi-Wan.
Right.
Period.
And he's the same age now that Alex Guinness was when he played Obi-Wan.
Right. Yeah. So it's getting really close. And I mean, and he can do it. I mean, he's a Star Wars dynasty. Obviously his uncle was Wedge. So yeah, dude, I want to see something. It needs to happen.
It has to happen.
Put it out to the cosmos.
Yeah, I don't think we're asking for too much here. We're gonna get a ton of news and information and tidbits and all the games and the books and the movies and the TV shows and all that stuff in the park, and we're gonna have tons of news. You put a capper on it with this, and there has we're good at. I was gonna end, but I'm remembering. So there's a rumor that has been going around that there's production of a new movie starting in the fall, and that they have been secretly working in secret with props and production and set design and stuff like that in the UK, and it's under some weird Red Solo Cup, which was what they called Solo. Red Cup is what they called it. So it's under a production company 2D animation something or other. There's enough hints.
Being very well cloaked.
It's being very well cloaked, and there's stuff that kind of, if you take a couple of leaps in information, you could surmise that there's something coming. Now, is that the Cassian Andor series, since we already know it's coming? Is it the Benioff and Weiss stuff, which I think it might be? But if you're gonna do Kenobi and everybody's wanting it, and you have Disney Plus, you film for 4 months or 5 months, you put out a movie, and you put it on Disney Plus. How many freaking more people are gonna sign up for it because that's on there?
I think you've got to be exceedingly stealth to hide something from Star Wars fans.
It's Marvel and Star Wars.
Yeah,
we have no idea what the freaking is going on in Episode 9.
Well, and that's the thing. Run the distraction game. You know, we're tied up with Clone Wars, Episode 9. You know, Mandalorian. You know, all this stuff coming out. Who's to say they're not doing something back there and we're completely distracted from it? We're not paying attention. Our focus is on Episode 9. So you're stealthily whether
and the
it's
park and the Mandalorian and
whether it's Obi-Wan, I would like it to be, or whether it's the Old Republic, I would like it to be. I'll take both of them, thanks.
We're greedy.
I'm not gonna deny it. You know, we want that, but it would make sense for them to do this. And if Disney's really kicking this into gear, where they're gonna say we're gonna start hiding things from the public, we're gonna give you tidbits, we're just gonna give you enough to keep you alive, and then punch you with the adrenaline shot. And I think that's going to be their new model, and I think you're going to see a lot more of that. So I think you're right. I think something's going on.
They're kind of doing that a little bit with Marvel, with Phase 4 and what they're moving on with going forward and stuff. So that's our thoughts about Celebration, all the panels, exclusives, and a little bit of Mandalorian talk this week, and some wild speculation that we all think is true because we want it. Let us know what you thought of this week's episode of The Rebel Files. Leave us a comment. Tell us what you think. What panel are you excited to see outside of Episode 9?
I think that's fair.
Because we're all ready for Episode 9. But tell us what panel you're excited for. Are you going to live stream it? And like we said, we're going to be live tweeting, live Facebooking, posting things as we can go along. We'll be doing trailer reactions as much as we can, hit and miss, and we might just do a Skype interview between the two of us about some of the stuff and whatever. So with all of that, like this video, subscribe to the channel. Help us out on Patreon because we're working for a goal there, and we'll have a new studio coming, so we have all kinds of new ideas. So, and until next time, I'm one with the Force,
and the Force is with me. Take care.